Hello and welcome to today's webinar on the DeepinView range of cameras. I'm Louise Parsons, one of the BDMs here at Hikvision. If you have any queries throughout this presentation, please don't hesitate to email us on answers.uk@hikvision.com. That's answers.uk@hikvision.com. So now we move on to the range that we have. So these are the DeepinView cameras. They are classed as the 7 series. These will be replacing any 5 series ultra cameras that we have out there when the stocks have a GPU built into the camera. And this is a graphics processor chip that allows you to add intelligence to the cameras. By doing this, we can add features such as the ones below. And I'm going to be walking you through each and every one of these to give you that information. So first of all, as I said, you can choose one of those 6 features to run your camera in. So you may choose to put it into facial recognition. Now we've all used facial or heard of facial recognition over the past few years and may have used it in the way of maybe in retail where you want to get an alert from someone coming into the store who you've previously had on an unauthorized list and get an alert from that. But let's turn it on its head a little bit and think about different applications. We can actually put this camera in what we call stranger mode. So if you had a commercial building, now a lot of people are returning to work, but potentially slowly, maybe half staffed, and they may not have a reception that is running 24/7. So what they could do is put all their staff pictures into the camera database so that it only triggers when someone walks in who is a stranger, so potentially a visitor coming into reception. It could then set a linkage action, which could be a pop-up on your software, a notification, even an audible sound, so that you know to go out the front to meet that person waiting in reception. You could also have it in a members-only club, so that members can go in if they try and bring a friend who shouldn't be there because they're signed up. You could have it so that it triggers this stranger alert to capture them as they walk in. You could even combine that with one of our LiveGuard cameras, which is one of our 2-way audio cameras. We've done previous webinars on those too, and you could talk to that person on site there and then if you were monitoring it. So just a couple of ideas there how you could use facial recognition. People counting. So traditionally we have used the top-down cameras to look at an area. Now they don't use any particular, they use intelligence but not a high level. They're looking for a top-down view and people walking past a line essentially, or they may have existing systems in place where it's got trigger points on the left and the right as you walk into a store say, and it triggers the people counting. What we can do here is add far more intelligence. This people counting camera, not only does the camera act as an overview camera on that entranceway, but it also does the people counting via facial recognition. So it's counting all the faces that go into the building. By doing that, we can actually input a list of faces to ignore. So if you had staff or maybe security guards on site, it can eliminate those people as part of your statistics. This is going to give you more accurate results for the counts that you actually need rather than the repetitive ones. We can actually set a time period as well for repeat customers so that it doesn't trigger those over and over again. You can see on the left hand side we have 2 charts. The top left hand one is from Hike Central. This is showing you either a daily, weekly or monthly report showing you how many people have entered and exit. Then below that, you've got the graph that when you go into the camera itself, this is what you get without having Hike Central. On here, it's showing you 3 figures, in, 25, out, and then 10 duplicates. Those duplicates are the people, could be your store staff, that you would need to take off that 25 figure. So 25 in, 10 duplicates equals 15 people coming in. Now that's because you're dialing into the camera, it's giving you the statistics like that. This is where if you have Hike Central, it's already accounting for that and giving you the true figure after all the mathematics have been done. To add to this, we can actually get the demographic reports too. So this gives you a guide, an overview of maybe gender, age and expressions. This could be valuable when you're marketing your property or marketing something in a store, say, because if you know that certain times of the week you get a lot of children in, you could market differently to when you have maybe the older children or the adults coming in. Now, you could actually link this to one of our display Android boxes. So you have one of those with a monitor, and that allows you to schedule and set times for what marketing information you want to show on that screen at any one time. So if you knew certain times of the week were better for certain customers, you could mark it accordingly. So it could be a very valuable tool for your business. Multi-type detection. So this is in regards to search on this one. So you may have used Smart Search before, which is where simply after the evidence, so after the video has been taken, you can sit there and you can highlight an area and say search, and it will show you all the movement of footage, all the footage with movement during that time. This, however, you can do a search on attributes. So as you can see on the video, we're going to do a search. We go into top color and we select red. And we do the search, and it drills down all those pieces of footage on the right hand side. We then add another filter, which is backpack, and that drills them down even more. And then we're going to go one step further and say, is he carrying or she carrying something? And it drills it right down, and we found our piece of footage very quickly and easily. So this could be a fantastic tool for an end user who has to review a lot of footage and potentially get lots of evidence all the time. Hardhat detection. This is not a feature that you're going to use all the time, and it is mainly for specific applications, particularly construction sites. So this is where we want to capture anybody not wearing their hard hat. So as you can see in the video, someone walks up and they're not wearing their hat, and it triggers the alarm on the left. And then at the back, you've got a guy without a hat on, but he's quite close to a guy with a hat on, but it still captures him and creates an alarm. And then at the end, he moves away and it captures him again. You can then click on any of those video clips and it brings it up so you can watch back the alarm. Then we show you another clip with our resident other pre-sales technical person that does these webinars, Daniel Hawkins, comes into the scene, takes his hat off, and it triggers an alarm on the left-hand side. It's just showing you how it works. Perimeter detection. Perimeter detection's been around for ages, and we've all used it, whether it's been motion detection or VCAs that we've had before. Now, it's all about setting those expectations for the end user. What can they get from the camera? We do have our AccuSense range, which we have talked about previously, which is our base range camera now. That can actually do false alarm activation up to 80% accuracy. So that still means you could probably get maybe up to 20% false alarms still. So it's just making sure it's working more effectively for you. This camera can actually do up to 90% reduction of false alarms rather than 80. So that actually matches the level of GPU that's in the DeepinMind recorder. Except for if you're using our 8 megapixel cameras, you're not having any problems with how many. You could have a whole site doing 8 megapixel cameras. Or it could be the fact that you maybe have some sort of education, some school that's open all the time and they don't feel they need motion detection. However, they do have a store out the back with a shed out the back with some valuables in, and they just put one of these cameras watching that just to make sure they've got that little bit of added security around the back. Showing you the video, you've got somebody walking into the area and it triggers the alarm and gives you the pop-up. You could have another linkage action to that if you wanted to. And we now support combined alarms also on our Hike Central platform. So you could link that to another alarm if you wanted it to. Queue detection. Now I see this working quite well in hospitality, so hotels, bars, anywhere that you might have a queue. You can actually set 3 zones within the camera view, and each zone can independently give you an alarm on a certain number of people entering that zone and potentially staying in that zone for a certain amount of time. So we're going to show you the video now. We have set our area up and you can see it surrounded in yellow, and we have put a number of 4. So when it goes above 4, we get an alarm, and we've done it at 5 seconds too. So if anyone stays in that zone for longer than 5 seconds, we get an alarm. So as you can see, we've still only got 2 in the scene. 2 more come in. The 5th one activates the box, and you can have whatever linkage action you want to go with that. What I think is really special is the reports that you can actually get from this. This is a chart, and you don't need Hike Central to do this, but this chart is showing you the waiting times. In green is 0 to 5 seconds, in yellow is 5 to 10, and in red is above 10 seconds. So you could actually plan your work rotas based against this queue detection, because you can see maybe you have certain times of the week where you're constantly getting a lot of people waiting a long time and you don't have enough staff on. And if you start to see a pattern arise, you know that potentially you need to put more staff on that day of the week, every week, to solve that problem. For the cost of just having a 7 Series camera with an I-Series recorder as part of your normal CCTV system, so it's basically adding on this camera, you're getting a hell of a lot of features and reports from it. What is the product range? So we have an internal dome, we have an external bullet, and we have an external dome as well. But on this dome, we've got 2 partitions either side of the dome for the IRs to go on the outer side and the camera to go in the middle side. And what that does is it gives some protection from any bounce back of IR at night time. Now, the roadmap. Here we are showing you the different models that we have, or the range. In the bottom left-hand side, we've got the DeepinView B Q2. This is what we have hundreds of in stock currently with our distributors in the UK. Now, these ones give you all 6 of those features. The key is here, we've had to do a hardware change in the camera, not offering you any more, it's just because of sourcing and parts, and therefore anything new from China ordered from now till Christmas won't have those other 3 features. They can still do facial rec, perimeter and multi-target detection, but they can't do the other 3. However, by Christmas, we should have the latest algorithm and firmware that allows you to update the DeepinView C models to have those 3 functions as well. And then hopefully anything shipped from China from Christmas onwards, you should be getting the new full-featured DeepinView C model. And the C will be on the part code, whereas the B is silent. So if that wasn't confusing enough, just go to your local BDM to discuss it further if you need it. But there should be several hundred in stock in the UK with our distributors that have all 6 of those features in them right now. That's it from my bit. If you have any further questions, then email answers.uk@hikvision.com. That's answers.uk@hikvision.com. Matt's going to come on and do his presentations now on the technical side of things. And then after he's on, we're going to do the Mentimeter survey. So just some questions and answers from you just to get a little bit more information. And then we'll do the prize draw at the end. So thank you.
Well, thanks very much for that, Louise. My name's Matt Rose, part of the pre-sales team here at Hikvision. We're going to go through a demonstration today of the DeepinView camera. So we're going to, we'll be going in via the camera. We're going to look at the VCA resource and switching between those different modes. We're going to have a look at looking at that face picture library, that database, and now we can adjust and edit that, do what we need to do. And we're also going to have a look at programming and creating a rule for people counting as well. So let's get into it then. We can have a look at the camera screen here, and pretty normal screen that you should all be familiar with. Let me see if I can remember the password and log into it. There we go. So first of all, we'll go down to System and look at our basic information. So the camera we're working with today is an IDS-2CD 7A46GO-IZHS. We're running firmware 5.5.122 and we're build number 200805. So it's always worthwhile making sure that you're up to date with the latest firmware, and you can get that latest firmware by going onto the Hikvision UK portal. So the first thing we'll look at is going to be that face picture library. Actually, the first thing we're going to look at is switching the VCA resource, which is up across here on the top. So we'll select VCA resource. Currently we've got it set for face counting, which is the one we're going to be demonstrating. But you can switch those modes very, very easily as well. So for example, if we wanted to change for queue management, we'd hit the button over here for queue management, hit save. It will make those changes when we reboot the camera. So we're not going to reboot the camera today. So we'll click cancel and we'll keep it on face counting. And we're going to have a look now at the picture library, which is down on the bottom on the left hand side. So we'll open the picture library. We've got a description for the picture library up on the top. We can add a new picture library here by clicking on the plus and edit and entering those details and information in here. We can give it a name and some comments. I've already got one created here. If we highlight that, we can delete it by pressing the cross button, or we can edit it by clicking on the cog to the left hand side. So I could change the name. I've also got some remarks here, which is just a free text box for us to enter in. So let me just change that to Hikvision. We'll click on OK. We should see a change come through there. Now I've already got two faces loaded into this database, but the eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will probably notice that we're completely blank across there at the moment, and that's because we need to search for those faces. So we've got our search criteria pretty wide at the moment because the ID type is not specified, along with the gender and modelling status, and the date of birth range is 1st of the 1st 1970 right the way through to today's date. So we'll click on search and hopefully we should see two people in there. And there we are, there's myself and Dan King. So we've got some more options across here on the right hand side here where we can import and add or modify. So let's have a look at add. And this is where we can add a picture or a face into the database. So the thing to bear in mind is that your image will need to be in JPEG format, so no BMPs or GIFs, and the maximum file size is 300 kilobytes. So if you take that with your phone and put it through, you'd need to resize it or remodel that to be less than 300k. We can also give that a name, gender, date of birth, and then we can also do ID card as well. So that would be your ID card number, and you can choose what that is from there as well. So we'll click cancel on there because we won't be adding anyone in today. But you can also modify existing ones as well. So let's look at for modifying myself. So there's my name. Gender as well. I've left the date of birth out at the moment, and we're not using ID card and ID number. So you may notice, you look at my picture here, I look quite stretched out. That's because the camera's put my picture through an algorithm and it's modelled it, and that optimises that image for use on the system. And it's quite simple and easy to do the modelling as well. So let's go through that part of it now. So we'll click cancel on here. Modelling. So we'll select all the target or the pictures in the database. So we've got both of them selected. We'll click on modelling. We'll click OK. And it'll model those two faces. So we've had two successful and two failed. Obviously it's going to take a little bit longer if you've got more faces in there, but we've just got the two in here. So I'm happy enough with all of that. So the next thing we're going to look at is the rule. So conventionally we would do rules through event, whether that be basic event or smart event. Works slightly different on this camera because we've switched that VCA resource. So our rule is going to be created under face counting. So first of all, we'll look at the overlay and capture. So we got the first option here, display VCA info on stream. We've got that ticked, so that will display the rule on the picture. We've also got the snapshot settings, which we've got set to custom, but we can change that for just a headshot, half body shot, or full body shot, and we can see those sizes change as we change those. So we'll keep ours on custom. We've also got our picture quality set to medium. Got three choices here, low, medium and high. We'll keep it where it is, we're happy enough. And we can change our picture resolution. We've got two choices with this, 1080 or 720, so we'll go for the higher one. And then we've got background upload ticked because we want it to upload in the background. We've got a counting flow overlay, which will appear on the top right hand side of the camera screen. And we've got that set for enter, leave and duplicate, but you could have any combination of that you see fit. We'll keep ours on enter, leave, duplicate. We can choose when we want to reset that count on the camera. As default, it's set to reset at midnight, but you can reset that for any hour of the day that you choose. We've got every single hour down there from midnight right the way through to 2300. If you want to do a manual reset, you can do. Click the button, save succeeded. That's just reset the count for us. And then the next thing we'll look at is the alarm setting. So we'll click on alarm setting, and we've got our schedule down here, our alarming schedule. But we'll look at the bit at the top first. So we're alarm uploading, and we're uploading face capture, face picture comparison, and also our people counting alarm. We can choose which database or picture library that we're going to use. We've only got one, remember, on the system, so as we pull this box down, we should only see one. If you've got more than one database on your camera, then you will see all of those populate through down here. We've got the option ticked for people counting deduplication, and then we're also uploading the captured face image as well. We've got the schedule set for 24/7 operation, but we can change this quite easily. A lot of you would have done this before, and we can just pull this bar over, move it about however we like, but we're going to keep it all 24/7. So let me quickly just change this back over. 002359. There we go, and that's changed. Then we'll click on save. And then we'll look at our linkage method now. So we've got Notify Surveillance Center, which is ticked, which will upload our data to the Hike Central or IVMS, etc. And we're also uploading to FTP/memory card. We've got another option over here on the right hand side where we can toggle an output as well. So this particular camera's got 2 outputs, and you can pick and choose which one you want to use. So let's program the rule. So screen looks a bit busy at the moment, so let's just clear off all of these things that we got here. There we go. So first thing we're going to want to do is set our pupil distance. So we can do some filtering on this via pupil distance. And what the pupil distance is the distance between the 2 pupils on the forehead. So if you imagine the subject that's coming through the scene, the face is going to get larger the closer they get to the camera. So if we can draw a couple of boxes here for pupil size, we'll get the minimum one about there. We'll put the larger one slightly larger. So we're looking at the width of the head really, from this point over here to this point over here on the right hand side. These boxes, it doesn't really matter where they are. You can move them about wherever you like. I'm just going to keep them on the top left hand side. Right, so the next thing we want to do is draw our region. We do that by clicking on this. We're going to have our region pretty much the whole screen. There we go. And once we're finished, so you've got a little bit of a bendy line there, I can click the right mouse button, and that's the region done. So once we've done that, we're going to put in our line, because we're going to do simple line crossing on this one. Let's see if we can get the line between those 2 points. There we go. So we're looking at direction of travel from the top to the bottom. We can switch that direction of travel by clicking on this button here. We'll see the arrow change over. We'll keep it top to the bottom. And once we're happy enough with that, we can click on save. We do need to keep the yellow line crossing line inside the region box. So for example, if I moved this, or if I created a longer line, I'm going to do this, put it over here like this. Then if I click on save, it should throw us back an error, which says, please set detection line again. The detection line should be within the red count area. So let's move it back where we think it should be. There we go. Once I click save, we've got save succeeded. So there's another way that we can do this apart from line crossing, and that's where we can use the 2 regions. And this is similar to intrusion detection if you've done that rule and alert on another camera. In effect, we create 2 boxes, box A and box B, and we're looking for that target to go from the top box through down to the bottom box. So let's draw our region A, and we can be a bit more creative with our box here. So it's the left mouse button to snap a new line, and then once we're finished, we can press the right mouse button, and that will finish our region. So we're going to draw around that. That's box A. Happy enough with that. Let's draw box B now. So I'm going to get that over here. I pressed the right mouse button. There you go. Let's try again. So there we go, got our box A and box B. Let's just hit save. So we've got save succeeded. Same thing before with the 2 boxes as we have with the line. So if I pick the box up here, we'll use box B this time. If I move it just outside of the red region, and I'll hit save, it'll come up and throw us an error message. We've actually got it outside the box and overlapping as well. So let's move it back over just so that it's overlapping box A. We should get another error message on the screen. Got the same thing there as well. Right, there we go. Oh, let's try drawing those regions again then, shall we? Let's clear that off. Draw our region. Put our pupil distances on. We're going to draw our box A. And we're going to draw our box B. Okay, right, so let's just try this one again. Let's clear all off the screen. And we'll go back to here, we'll go back into rule. There we go, got save succeeded now. So the next thing we're going to show this rule in operation now. So if we can just, we've got a video of this running through at the moment, so we can just pop that on the screen. Well, there I am down the bottom, very nice. So remember, we've got myself and Dan in on the database here, so we should show up as duplicates. There's myself coming through, there's Dan showing as a duplicate because we're in on the database. There's Michael coming through now, he's not added in, so he should not be added in the duplicate count. Same for Ken as well. We'll just see that, that'll roll through again, go through twice. So it's using that facial recognition to identify the two people that we've got in there, myself and Dan. And it's ignoring the others as well, but just adding them in as a count. Very easy and straightforward. So the next thing I'd like to show you is a bit of smart analysis. So if we can pop that over, there we go. So we've got some real-time analysis, similar sort of scene as we had before. Remember, we've got myself and Dan added in on the database. So we've got a percentage match of our faces as we're walking through against those on the database already. So I've come up as 99, Dan's come up as 97. We've also got those other statistics as well. So it's shown up that I'm male, no, not wearing glasses, not wearing a mask, and a happy facial expression. We've got the same for all the other people that are coming through as well. And then you can use this information for whatever you like. Absolutely fantastic. Well, that brings an end to the live demonstration. I hope you found it very useful. There's certainly loads of things that you can do with these cameras. Very, very interesting. So I'd like to hand back over to Louise, who's going to complete the Menti meeting.